What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 26th day of August, and here we are sitting at about $0.0456 with 5 days and like 4.5 hours left in the week here, 4.5 hours left in this day as it stands. We have hit a low today of 0.047. Very close, if not at the intended area that we were talking about yesterday. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and see if we can figure out where this thing's headed, if it has lower to go. If we're at the low, bouncing from here, what's up? Let's see if we can figure that out. So looking at this here, as far as the price action is concerned, I like what I'm seeing. I do, I think that we've got higher highs, higher lows. It looks good. Yes. This low is lower than that low, but overall it's still higher lows. I don't like this necessarily as a low. Right, just looking at how ZBCN finds its lows typically. This is not the best way to do analysis, but just understand, it's just what my brain is thinking like is you found support here. Notice how you moved up rather immediately. You moved up rather immediately. You moved up rather immediately. Here you found support, and what did you do? You dilly-dallied, and you went lower. Kind of like what you're doing here. You know what I mean? 1 hour time frame. You bounced off the oversold zone, which is nice. You're definitely getting deeper readings into the overbought zone and not really liking that oversold zone at all, which is nice. You're just not doing anything with yourself now. When you move sideways, you're like this, the indicators can be a little bit less reliable, but I would say ultimately I'm bearish on the stochastics and, yeah, sure, bearish on the RSI as well. You're getting higher highs in the RSI with lower highs in the price. It's hidden bearish divergence. You've been building some green momentum, bullish momentum on the histogram for the MACD, and you're not doing anything with it. I think you're getting set up for one last little move down. And when I say little, it's probably going to be little. It won't be anything significant. A little bit of a move down, and then you move up, okay? Because again, typically if ZBCN finds a low, it looks just like this. Ready? It looks just like that, where you move up at a very fast pace, but then what it doesn't look like is where after you move up, you just dilly-dally. You give it back. That to me, that's not what you normally see with a low. That's what we see in these little in-between areas when we're trying to find the low. If we're looking at this from an overall low here to a high there, well, you did bounce right off the golden ratio. That's nice. That's a nice reaction, but it just didn't follow through. So maybe a little bit lower. I don't know if this is good enough to send you all the way down to the 786. I wouldn't call for that, but something of a slightly lower low, maybe just enough to fake people out, and then we start to move up. If you were to go to the 786, 886, understand the lowest I'd give you would be about 00416 to 00428. You could go down there. I don't know if you do. But I would say 00439 or 44 is probably the lowest I'd give you at this point in time. That's my thoughts. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame, okay? Let's see if we can divulge some more information. Throw that fib back on there. Let's see. Overbought. Rejections all around. Not good, but overall you're not getting oversold, which is good. Rejecting the oversold zone on the stochastics, not good. Starting to cross below the zero on the MACD, also not good. It's not a full-blown crash yet, though. Going back to the idea of maybe you do go down just a little bit, and if you get a proper reaction off of that, man, you could really turn this thing around and bounce right off. I mean, you've done this before, right? Double bottom, slightly higher low, maybe a slightly lower low, but the key thing here is you move up. You dilly-dallied for a second, but you really started to move up more afterwards, right? I'm having a hard time thinking that we get below 004 at this point in time. But if it happens, it wouldn't be by too much more. 00417 at the lowest, 00428 maybe. And then from there you find support and you continue to rally. It would be a higher low than this overall. I don't think that you go below that low. That's for damn sure, at least at this point. Looking at the daily time frame. Daily time frame rejecting the overbought zone, that's not good. We don't like to see that on the stochastics. RSI, bit neutral here, but overall very bullish on the daily RSI, and the daily MACD is bullish as of now. We do have that little bounce off the zero line there. You are building bearish momentum. Let's see how it plays out. Let's just see how it plays out. Because I mean, if you were to go below that low, man. At this point in time, I mean, looking at the daily time frame, I have to admit, it's almost convincing me that we would go down here. We just keep pushing that level a little bit lower. But I don't think you do that. I mean, you could if Bitcoin's dilly-dallying. But Bitcoin did a big shakeout and this is all you got. Like, I don't, you have higher lows even, and Bitcoin's getting lower lows. I don't think so, man. I have to admit, as of right now, in this point in the video, I'm a little bit more convinced that you could go below 0.004 even, let alone 0.044. But I'm not calling for that. That's not the call. I could just see it happening. And you go all the way down to 0.00355. That would be your area of support. You'd find a higher low right there, and then you'd move up. That's probably also right at your golden ratio of this low to high. No, it's not. It's right below your 0.5. I doubt you get down there. I really do doubt that you get down there. But let's just say you're at a kind of critical moment, Zebec, okay? If you don't find support at 0.044, then you're probably going to be in trouble. You're probably going to move down and you will see lower lows. You don't have to go down to 0.044. You could find support between here and there. Absolutely, you could. But I would think that you see slightly lower lows compared to what you just saw, right? You're probably going to see, what was that area that we were looking at again? Okay, 0.044. Maybe, sorry, the lowest I'd give you is 0.0417. My bad. I'm all confused. If you break below 0.0417, then your probabilities of going to 0.0357 or 356 or lower they go up tremendously. So going below 0.044 does not condemn you down there. It's going below 0.0417 that would. But I'm not, at this point in time, I'm still not even convinced that you'd break below 0.044. Let's call for that to be your kind of line in the sand that you hold. And then at that point, you're hoping that 0.0417 holds if you break below that. You don't even have to go down to 0.044. You could find support somewhere else. This is the most, I feel like, that I've scratched my head with Zebec, with ZBCN. The one thing that's making me think that we're not going to go lower is, again, Bitcoin's already moved down a good bit. I mean, hell, if we're looking at BTC here on a daily time frame, you've just been seeing lower lows since August 22nd, where Zebec here, or even since August 19th, where Zebec here's seen higher lows. So if Bitcoin going lower is not enough to take you lower, I don't know what will be, right? What from here, Bitcoin goes down to like 108K, 107K. I don't think that'll push. Maybe it gets you a lower price than what you did today, but I don't know if it gets you below that low there. Let's see here. Let's look at this in another perspective. As long as you're holding that 0.5. I'm going to change it on you guys one more time. I keep throwing all this at you, but I'm just looking at it. I'm trying to look at it through all these perspectives, and I'm just trying to be real with myself. And okay, I was at the wrong thing here. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, I like that. I mean, that makes sense. That makes the most sense to me. You need to hold 0.0406. I know it was 0.0. We'd also like to hold that 0.041 level, 0.0417. But I suppose there is some hope for a double bottom, because that 0.5 on this overall fib, I think, is more significant than this 886 is. I just know, again, trying to be real with myself and also trying to be as clear as possible, even though I feel like I'm being confusing in this video. 0.0417, if you break below that on a daily closing basis, I would be a bit scared. I would think that we do go lower down here. But there is that final saving grace down here at, I guess, 0.0406. Okay, if you can hold that for support, I suppose that you're fine. But again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Adding to the confusion, we're talking about these lower prices. I'm still under the impression that we don't go below 0.044. Okay, I'm trying to make it as clear as I can. I'm just seeing all this stuff. It's not scripted. I'm just going, free form right off the top of my head, figuring it out with you guys. And most of the time, I feel like Zebec's pretty easy. But today it's being difficult, and with some of the stuff, it's maybe not even today, just this week or this past couple of days, it's been difficult. That rejection off the overbought zone gets me a little bit with the stochastics. The false bounce off the MACD gets me a little bit with the MACD here. And the RSI, in all fairness, I mean, you could go lower. Bouncing here is nice, but you stopped here. You didn't even get up to the 60, which that's not nice. There are some signs of weakness, and that weakness, if it persists, you could go all the way down to 0.0355. but that would, or maybe even 0.0342, but that would be the lowest area that I could see you having, right? And the only reason I'm really starting to consider that now, consider it does not mean that I'm predicting that this is what happens. We're just considering it, right? We need to see more before we call for that to happen. Is because there was a form of analysis I did at the end of my most recent Bitcoin video where we made sense out of Bitcoin kind of not seeing any bullishness until, maybe the middle of September. It might be the middle of September. And if Bitcoin's dilly-dallying all that time, Zebec might be chilling too. I should do an Ethereum video because if ETH is chilling for that amount of time, that would make sense too. And then we have, of course, the idea of a 1, 2, 3-legged correction. Could be, could happen. And if that were to be the case, 0035 sounds about right to me. Let's see how 0044 holds. If that breaks, that's the first domino to fall. Ultimately, it's 004 that needs to hold. And if that breaks, it's undeniable at that point that not only are we going below the slope, but 0035 would be something to consider. I want to be very clear one last time. I've said this enough, but I'm going to just say it one more time. I'm not calling for us to go down here. I'm putting us on notice, okay? And while it might make you scared, it might make you not feel good. Oh, I wish it was going up. Well, it's going to go up in a matter of no time. None of the upward targets that I've called for, 2 to 4.5 cents, 3 cents to 4.5 cents specifically, even 6 cents and beyond by the end of September, or at this point, maybe it's by the end of October. None of those targets are off the table. If anything, they might be pushed back time-wise. They might not even be pushed back time-wise. There just might be some added turbulence ahead. I'm not calling lower prices than this low. I'm just open to the idea of it. Okay. At this point, the call from me strictly is that we hold 0044 as support. If we go lower, I've given you the contingencies for that. And if you break below 004, that's when all hell breaks loose. But I should be careful with my wording there because it's really not going to be that big of a deal. From that point, you're going to drop barely at all. And then you'll probably start to rally. But overall, I do like the trajectory that Zebec's on. I very much do believe that you're going to go higher. I don't believe that it stops here. Worst comes to worst, you have a little bit of added turbulence over the coming weeks, and then you finally show some life. But if things go the way that I think they will, going into the end of this month and going into the very beginning of September, we should see some life come about with Zebec and be moving up to new all-time highs. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.